So it is Combine week in the NFL. Mike Florio's bitching apparently because some of these prospects are having to fly in the middle seat and not in first class to go out there. So there's that fun storyline. And then there's also the
go figure.
Yeah. The games of the Combine are already being played. The mental warfare with these guys.
Is that intentional?
Oh yeah, it's intentional. You don't think? Here's the thing: is every single thing you do while you're in Indianapolis is being evaluated. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where there's almost agents and people trying to set up acts of goodwill. Outward and openly in the public, or trying to film it just to make sure it goes viral to make the guy's character, all that stuff. I mean, it's all a show. The entire thing is a production on both sides of it. From the player, what they do or don't do, from the teams and how they, try to put pressure on the player nowadays, whether it's stuff like this, the middle seat, calling your room in the middle of the night. All of it, the interviews, it's all a test to see how you're going to react, see how you're going to handle pressure, try to catch you off guard, and try to get you to show your true colors. Because all these prospects are so well prepared now for the entire process of the Combine that it almost kind of takes away from what the original intent was.
There's a lot to it, man. I mean, they go as far back to talk to your grade school teachers or grade school principals if they can. They're collecting the information on if they're going to make. I mean, what other gig do you step in and the first day you're making the type of money? I mean, you're talking draft pick guys. What other job do you just step in and you're making millions of dollars? And your employer is paying it to you. So they want to know what type of person you are. It definitely are mind games. I can recall the scheduling of certain things that you had to do, and it was like, why can't we can't we sleep? All right, you want the first sample of the day. All right, and this is your time to give the sample. It'd be 3-4 in the morning. And it's 3-4 in the morning, then you want us to get up. And I think the Combine has since changed from what I gather. But, I mean, you do a ton of things. At least when I went through, the amount of physical scrutiny on the poking, the prodding, the pulling, all of the x-rays, and it was wild, man. It was a wild deal. And then, you got to be alert enough to go in there and take tests. You got to be alert enough to meet with the coaching staff and sit down with numerous staffs, ownership groups. It's pretty intense. And if it starts with where you're at on the plane, I would just say your focus needs to be where it needs to be, because it's the biggest job interview to date that they're going to be a part of. That'd be the last thing on my mind, is what seat I was sitting in heading to the Combine.
Marvin Harrison Jr., so he's not doing any of the drills. He's not doing, and he's been working out in Columbus, and it's for him, there's no point, right? He's going to be a top 3, top 4 pick most likely. So for him, what's really the point of going to the Combine? When all of his stuff is on tape, you've seen him in the biggest games, you've seen how great he was in those games. So what would be the point for him to really even need to be there?
The real point of why the Combine's there for medicals. I mean, you get your medical and your interview evaluations. That was the origin of the Combine. They needed one central place where you could go and get medical information on guys you're about ready to invest, millions of dollars into. It's kind of funny when you compare it to the college level, because there's none of that. You could sign a player that needs surgery or gets surgery and be completely unaware of it because there's not a physical taken beforehand. So just to contrast the two, if you look at how long we've had the Combine and why we have it, it's because you want to make sure that you understand the player you're taking and the injury history that he's got. and where his body's at this point. So that's the biggest reason for it. The second is the interview. You want to know the type of person and player you're getting. So whether it's through different cognitive tests and things of that nature, or through the kind of speed dating sessions of interviewing with different teams, or it's just the casual conversations you'll have down at the train station, they call it, where there's kind of a breakout space of assistant coaches sometimes and scouts that you'll just be talking to casually. All of that, really is the reason why you go. And you'll see all these guys go. Even Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, they're not throwing, right? But they will be talking and interviewing while they're there with teams because that's just a part of the process.
Well, listen, I know some of the questions that have been asked. Like, LaVar, you bring up the point that they go all the way back to grade school teachers. Like, what could you possibly get from a grade school teacher that would be at all beneficial to you to find out about a player you were going to draft?
I mean, it could be a baseline of behavior. I mean, that's what I would have assumed it was for.
I mean, kids are eating glue and boogers at that age. Like, what the hell does that? I mean, like, what is that?
And you might be an adult still eating glue and boogers.
I mean, I would hope not.
Who knows?
What does LeBron James have to do with that?
Some little kid's voice.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
He's a grown up now, but he might have been eating boogers at the time.
By the way,
that is true.
Speaking of old, that kid's older than that Gautier song. How old is that clip from the LeBron James? That's got to be 10 years old.
It's pretty old.
I'm sure.
That kid's 35 now.
Probably.
I just like some of the. Who was the prospect who they asked him? I think it was
about his mom, Des Bryant.
Well, it was Des Bryant. They asked if she was still a hooker, right? They asked that.
Jeez.
I mean,
that is how they said it, though. That's how they reported it.
Was it Jeff Ireland who did it?
How do you subtly segue into that?
So, Daz, yeah, I'm not going to touch that. I don't know. I really don't know.
But there was a prospect, an O-lineman, who the video got out. I don't even know how the video got out, but they asked him, like, if you could change one thing about you, what would it be? And he said, a bigger you-know-what, and was dead serious. And the people in the room were like, what? And he just started laughing. I swear to God, you can look it up. There's an offensive lineman who got drafted, and he was dead serious.
Why would you say his name? I mean,
I don't remember his name. I just remembered it was like an offensive lineman, and that was his response, which is fair.
Can I make this observation about you, Jonas?
What's that?
Your two biggest takeaways from the Combine in recent years from working with you
are related to that.
That comment about some dude talking about his junk, and then the Chris Jones 40-yard
first
dash.
of all, was it Trey Adams? Okay. Look that up. All right, Trey Adams. I'm not making this up. Yeah, that's a memorable moment. And by the way, I'm not going to sit here on an island and be the only one who gets blamed for bringing up the Chris Jones conversation. All right, everybody's brought up Chris Jones, fumbling his produce on the track there in Indianapolis.
His produce.
Yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and have to wear that entire storyline. That's been brought up on this show before. It's not just me. Everybody else brings it up.
Who else brings it up on the show?
Trey Adams went undrafted in 2020. After making those comments.
Did he?
Yeah.
Because he was honest?
I pulled my thing out.
Because he was honest.
I think he had some injuries, which played a factor too.
Clearly.
But, yeah, that didn't help, I don't think.
Not strong enough. I did the Blue Chew read.
Well, he's 6'8", 310 pounds, so he's a big dude. It's just yeah.
BlueChew.com.
Why would he, by the way, why would he think that would be an answer that would go over well in a combine? Why? Like, you could just give like some canned answer, like, I don't know, wish would have won more games. If I could work a little bit on this or that. Like, yeah. And instead
what would you say, Jonas? I mean, would you be honest with him like that or no?
No, absolutely not. Because I figured they would just look at me and go, "Oh, well, he doesn't need to say it. We get it." like everything, it's right there. But when you're 6'8" and you drop that on him, that could be a bad look. The optics in that are not great. So
the optics are not great. Huh?
No, definitely not.